Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to look at all things real estate investing with two seasoned pros, their incredible journeys just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show. Well, I've always admired people who invest in real estate because famously, some of the largest fortunes on the planet were made through real estate. It's the one thing that just continues to increase. Every once in a while, there's a little dip, but that's a buying opportunity for someone. To talk about that today, Michele Christopher and Mike Hall, they're both experienced real estate investors. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Let's begin with you, Mike. You're from Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
How did this all begin for you?
Okay, so I started selling real estate about a decade ago now. And at the time, so this is 2013, 2014, and I found myself just like walking into house after house after house that was just like deal. I didn't have any money. There's nothing I could do about it. So fast forward, 5 years into that, and I finally had my feet off the ground. And so I jumped in and I was ready. So I had 5 years of like watching everybody else make money. And then, five years ago, it was my turn.
And Michele, you actually work with Mike on deals.
I do, yeah. So I buy my investment properties from Mike, do a lot of work in Minnesota, and now I'm doing deals here in Texas.
Okay, why is it so smart for somebody like you to work with an experienced realtor like Mike?
He looks at things from a different perspective. When you're looking at an investment property, it's a business. This isn't a place that you're going to live. So instead of looking at things like, oh, I love the color of the kitchen or the layout, we look at things like, how much is this going to cost me? And then at the end of the day, how much can I make?
Yes. We're going to talk about do's and don'ts in a second, but I'm a big fan of Mike's social media because he's giving away a lot of tips on there. And we found one great video that he recently produced. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
What's up, you guys? This is Mike Hall with RE/MAX, and today we are on beautiful Lake Waconia. I'm biased to this lake because this is where me and my family live. We love it, and it's been a couple of years since we shot our full video. Check the link in the description below if you want to learn everything about Lake Waconia. But things have changed in the last 2 years, so we're out here to do a quick update. Enjoy. First and foremost, the last couple of years, we're seeing a ton of teardowns. So we're looking at lot value when it comes to buying and selling properties. You can get, between 800 and a million right now. So 2 years from now, this may not make sense, but that's gonna be the lot value. So that's gonna be your minimum entry because that's what lots are trading for. The only lots for sale right now are actually over 7 figures. So we got 1, 2, 3 right now, 4 right there behind me. And that's just the west side here. Speaking of teardowns, there's a couple more here that just got finished in the last year and a half. So this is Coney Island, right smack dab in the middle of Lake Waconia. There's always been several access points to this, but it's never been easier than it is right now. So on the far west end, they put a brand new dock in here, floating dock that actually has 2 slips for a boat. And there's actually a ramp on the other side for like canoes, paddle boards, and all that kind of stuff. Now this used to have a dock, and they took that dock and they moved it to the east side of the island. So now we've got 2 docks that makes getting on and off the island really, really easy. So here's the other dock, and now you can just get right on and off. In the summer or in the dead of winter, you can walk out here on the ice. One of the greatest things about Waconia is that it has everything you need here. We've got 3 grocery stores, we've got a wonderful hospital, we've got a ton of great schools, private and public. And we have quick access into the city by use of Highway 7, Highway 5, and 212. It's just a great space to be where you actually don't have to leave to get the things that you need. Waconia in general has been pretty solid lately. A lot of people wanting to move in. We haven't seen inventory just or for sale in general within the greater city of Waconia. Up until recently, there's actually some options on the market right now. So if you're not looking to get onto the lake, like, it's a really good time to be, buying in Waconia in general. I know I'm looking to buy another investment property, so.
Wow. Mike, I love your videos, and I think, famously, everybody knows that during COVID, these second homes went crazy, especially on the lakes. Has that trend continued?
Big time. And so, like, one of the saddest things that we find from, like, if you want to talk specifically about lake home buyers, is the folks who said that prices were too high in COVID, and despite my urgings have waited, and we've seen 40-50% appreciations. And so, like, when it was too expensive for them now, like, they're done and they're off the lake probably forever now. Which is really kind of sad.
Okay, Michele, let's talk about the kinds of investments you like to make. Is there a theme? Do you like the lakefront properties?
I am really limiting my risk, and so I do that. So I keep a price range under 300,000. That way, if there is a rise or there's a bubble that they say will burst, the impact to my assets won't be as large. I'm also looking at doing multifamily. So I just started doing multifamily investing, and I'll continue to grow that.
Awesome. I also want to brag about Mike's podcast and his YouTube page. We're going to pull this up and kind of scroll down the page. And as we look at this, well, there's Michele. So you've been on Mike's podcast. And Mike, what do you accomplish on your podcast? What kind of guests do you look for?
So I have people on my podcast that are people that I like and that are in my sphere, and who don't mind just shooting the breeze with me, right? So we just go on there, we don't script it, and we just talk about our experiences. So they're all going to be, life, a lot of real estate stuff. So that's who's coming on.
And is it weird being a guest on somebody else's show? Because you're usually the host. You're usually sitting in my seat.
Man, I just like talking in front of the camera, so I don't care if it's on my show or yours. I'm good.
All right, I want to talk about some do's and don'ts, and we've got some video of just different remodeling projects. Mike, is it smartest to buy some kind of fixer-upper? Is that where the real money is?
So if you're looking to make money in real estate right now, you're going to have to go down the road of a fixer-upper, right? The days of the 3% investment interest rates are over, because with those you could just buy basically any house, cash flow it. Now we have to find the deals by buying real deep, right? So we find a property and we get it that needs a lot of work, and we make the changes, and then that's where we find the money right now.
Yeah, but Michele, it's important to make sure that you don't put too much money into the house and you'll never get it out again. We've all heard horror stories of people who maybe they bought it low, but they too much attention to detail, too much, porcelain and marble and this and that. I mean, how do you decide how much to put into the home?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And I think a lot of people do that because you can overdo it. So when I'm redoing houses, I take a look at, making sure that flooring is done, the function of the house is nice. But yeah, I definitely don't try to put too much in that would outprice me in making a profit.
Mike, let's talk about when it's time to freshen up a home and how far to take it, because I know traditionally it's things like the kitchen is a game changer. If somebody comes in and it looks like Marsha Brady did it,
yep.
they can't imagine it being updated. So where do you put money? What rooms of the house do you put money?
So there's two schools of thought here. So like if we're talking about an investment, you put it in there where it's bulletproof. Okay, so you make changes in a way that it's going to withstand it and then be a little bit pretty, but not going all the way. Now, if it's a home you're going to live in, I actually would lend most people in most price ranges to just doing high level maintenance and not necessarily doing these big remodels.
Staying with you, Mike, let's give you a chance to brag. What's your best deal ever? What did you buy it for? How much did you put in? How much did you get out?
So we're just working on a flip right now, and this is a little bit preemptive, but we're under contract right now, and it's going to be a 6-figure payout, and it's it's a 5-6 month project.
And so there's a lot of people who watch, reality TV shows, and they're like, oh, I can do that. I'll just go into this, impoverished neighborhood and buy an old house and become a millionaire. Why is it important to align with a guy like you?
Well, mostly it's about taking base hits, okay? And the reason why it's important to align with somebody who's in the real estate investing is because you're doing it and you can see the world differently. I've been there. It's the experience of all the blunders. You get to take advantage of that, right? I've wasted all the money for you. I can assure you of that. So you might as well partner with me, and I can tell you where not to make those steps.
Now, Michele, you're also a very successful life coach, and I think part of your coaching business is really working with people to make sure that their financial future is secured. Obviously, people can put money into the stock market. Why is real estate investing should be a part of everybody's portfolio?
I think that, we're seeing, double-digit growth in real estate. At least that's definitely what I have experienced. I think from the life coaching perspective, a lot of people talk about wanting to become a real estate investor, which only takes one property to do. And I think oftentimes they talk themselves out of it. And I'd say your step one is, is it possible? Like if you can just create the possibility in your mind and start getting creative with that, then anybody can be a real estate investor.
Sure. Let's talk about multifamily because I know both of you are interested in it. Here in Dallas-Fort Worth, you've got all these fancy restaurants north of here, and famously, there are people who are driving 20, 30 miles to become a server at a restaurant. If you put up multi-family homes and properties near some of the high-end, eateries out here, you can't help but make money.
Correct. Well, and that's where multifamily or just investing in general is going towards. It's that high level convenience for people where they're wanting to package everything right, in that area where they're spending all of their time doing the things they want and they're getting away from the commute. So yeah, that's really popular right now.
Okay, we've got about 2 minutes left, so I want you both to look into your cameras and talk to the person who is like wanting to put a toe in the water and they don't know what to do next. Michele, you want to start?
Absolutely. So again, I would start with the possibility. I think that mindset is really important, and get curious, because oftentimes we talk ourselves out of things without having any data or facts. The second thing that I would do after that is work with some mortgage lender. They're going to give you the data that you need. How much is it going to cost? How much can you afford? Those are the numbers that you actually want so that you can start doing your planning. And then the last thing I would do, find yourself a realtor that knows what they're talking about. Somebody like Mike, when he goes to look at these things, he is an investor himself as well as a realtor. He's going to look at things from a different perspective than somebody who isn't an investor and is just out selling houses.
Mike will give you the final word.
So if you want to include investing into real estate into your life, you have to surround yourself with a little bit of an echo chamber of real estate, right? So the podcasts you listen to, the people you talk to, whether you're meeting with real estate agents and loan officers, you've got to kind of create this little mini echo chamber of real estate, because you're going to start learning and talking the talk, and that's going to be your step one. And then of course that's going to lead to all the things that Michele just mentioned. So yeah, I think just starting to learn about it and surrounding yourself with it is going to be step one.
Outstanding. You've been an amazing guest. We're going to end with both of your contact pieces. Let's start with Mike's Instagram. We'll put it up on the screen. There's a lot of great information there. And then finally, Michele's coaching website, which is michelechristophercoaching.com. Thank you both for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
This was a lot of fun.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.